three steps in a chronological order, in a proper sequence. We first prepare the trading account, calculate the gross profit or the gross loss. Either of the two, whichever is the balancing figure, is then transferred to the profit and loss account. Okay. Therein, again, subsequent to recording of all indirect expenses and indirect incomes, you get a balancing figure which is known as net profit or net loss. Either of the two. Post that, we prepare the बैलेंस शीट. जो आपकी नेट प्रॉफिट की वैल्यू आती है वो कैपिटल में ऐड होती है, और अगर कोई नेट लॉस आ रहा है आपके पीएनएल अकाउंट में, दैट इज सब्ट्रैक्टेड फ्रॉम द अमाउंट ऑफ कैपिटल. To check the accuracy of your calculation, you should get equal assets and equal liabilities. Okay. So under the adjustments, I told you all entries which are given in the trial balance will appear at one place, while adjustments given subsequent to the trial balance as additional information, they appear at least two places. So we had started with closing stock yesterday, and just to recap, if closing stock is given after the trial balance, then it will go to the credit side of the trading account by closing stock, and in the balance sheet that is an asset for the business. So right hand side balance sheet में assets के under आप लिखोगे closing stock. Next we come to outstanding expenses. So I had explained you the concept yesterday. Outstanding expenses are those expenses which are due but have not yet been paid by the business. Till the last day of the accounting period, these expenses remain outstanding. So how do we treat these expenses? Let's have a look. Okay, so just have a look at the slide. The expenses are due but not yet paid. So the entry, now you don't need to memorize the entries. Just understand that it is the outstanding expenses which are added to the expense account. Okay, this is just for your knowledge sake. You don't need to understand you don't need to memorize the entry. Okay, what you need to be very clear with is to what is the treatment of outstanding expenses in final accounts. So the first thing that is done is, depending on the nature of expense, that is whether the expense is a direct expense or an indirect expense, it is added on the debit side of either the trading account or the profit and loss account. And second treatment is in the balance sheet, where it is recorded on the liability side of the balance sheet. Okay, so these are the two treatments for outstanding expense. It would be more clear if we take an example for the same. Just have a look at the question there on your screens. तो कुछ वैल्यूज आपको ट्रायल बैलेंस की दी हुई है और फिर आपको एडजस्टमेंट दी हुई है. Just take a minute and read the adjustment. So herein you are given both wages and salaries. One thing to be very clear is that wages, they are direct expense for the business, and hence wages come under the trading account. So wages come in the trading account because wages are paid to the workers who are involved in the production process. तो प्रोडक्शन तक जो भी एक्सपेंसेस होते हैं वो आपके सारे ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट में जाते हैं. So right from the procurement of raw material to the production of final product, final good, all the expenses go in the trading account. All expenses come on the left hand side of the account, which is known as the debit side of the account, while all incomes come on the right hand side, which is known as the credit side of the account. So wages appear in the trading account. Your amount, you just note it down, is 4600, while salaries, they are paid to the office staff which is helping in administration, so it comes in the profit and loss account, and the amount is 22,000. Okay, now after the trial balance has been prepared on 31st March, there was some adjustment which was left, which is given as wages due but not paid. I'm just writing it here, is 900, while salaries outstanding, that is again salaries due but not paid, is 2000. Okay, so let us see how we make the treatment for these entries. So this is how your trading and P&L account looks like, and let's take this roughly to be the balance sheet. So this is trading and P&L account, and this is the balance sheet with the liabilities on the left hand side and assets on the right hand side. Amount column, okay, so just for clarification sake, जो आपने ट्रेडिंग एंड पीएनएल अकाउंट बनाया है, that is for the year ending, that is the complete statement that is used. So say this is information is on 31st March 2019. So you write trading and P&L account for the year ending 31st March 2019, and balance sheet is as on 31st March and the year 2019. Now in the first account that you have prepared, trading and P&L account, the upper half of the pro forma is the trading account and the lower half is the P&L account. तो जहां पर आपने इक्वल कर दिया, ऊपर वाला पार्ट आपका ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट है and the lower part of this pro forma is the profit and loss account. Okay, so this is about the format. Now let us see what will be the treatment. Both are expenses, both will come on the debit side. Debit side is nothing but the left hand side of the account. So first I will take up the treatment of wages. So two wages. These wages of 4600 have already been paid. तो आप इसको डेबिट साइड पे लिख दोगे ऑफ द ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट, बट 900 इज ड्यू बट नॉट येट पेड. 900 का एक्सपेंस आपने इनकर कर दिया है एंड दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर. So we will add this expense here, and now the wages for the current year will be 5500. This is the first treatment of this adjustment. Have a look. Any doubt, any question, please ask, especially the ones who are doing this for the first time. ओके, सो एक एडजस्टमेंट आपने ट्रेडिंग, एक इफेक्ट आपने ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट में दिखा दिया, दूसरा इफेक्ट आप बैलेंस शीट में दिखाओगे. समथिंग विच इज ड्यू but not paid is a liability for the business. Liability is something that the business owes. बिजनेस के ऊपर कुछ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि ये पेमेंट आने वाले फ्यूचर में करनी है, so that becomes a liability. So in the liability side, at the end, once you have mentioned all the other liabilities, at the end you will mention outstanding wages, and now the outstanding amount is only 900. So this is what we mention here, and this is the second effect of this adjustment. Okay, so this is adjustment A, that you can clearly identify कि wages से related जो adjustment है उसकी treatment हमने ऐसे कर लिया. Okay, similar treatment is for salaries also. Salaries come in the P&L account. To salaries, amount for the current year which has already been paid is 22,000, plus there is an outstanding amount not yet paid, 2,000. Total amount of salaries for the current year are 24,000, and your outstanding salaries I'll write again at the end in the balance sheet. On the liabilities side, I write this amount as 2,000. So this is the first treatment for adjustment B, and this is the second treatment for adjustment B. This is how you treat the outstanding expenses. If there's any question, please ask.
मैम
Yes, बेटा बोलो.
मैम ये अभी पे नहीं हो रहे हैं ना?
नहीं, ये ड्यू है, पे करनी है, पर अभी फर्म ने पे नहीं करी, उसको आउटस्टैंडिंग बोलते हैं.
Yes ma'am, so ma'am we'll pay them in the next year.
Yes, yes, you will pay, but according to matching principle, जो भी एक्सपेंसेस इस ईयर के हैं वो इस ईयर में ही रिकॉर्ड होने चाहिए.
Yes
ठीक
ma'am.
है,
Yes,
तो
ma'am.
इसलिए हम यहाँ पर उनको शो करेंगे.
Okay.
Okay, any other question?
Ma'am, I just have a quick question.
Yes, pass.
Ma'am, what is the basic difference between wages and salaries?
Wages are paid to the blue collared workers. Okay, and
Mhm.
wages are paid on daily basis, while salaries are paid to the more skilled staff, to the white collared workers, and they are paid on monthly basis. So when we
So,
are preparing the financial statement, we say that wages are generally for the workers who are involved in factory, in the production process, while salaries are paid to the staff which is working in administration
okay.
on
So this,
monthly basis. Yeah.
so this is the only reason that's why the wages are in trading account and the salaries are
Yes.
in P&L account.
Yes. Yes.
Because we deal with wages on a regular basis and salaries are on a monthly or quarterly
And these
basis.
are direct expenses because paid to the worker who is involved in direct production of the
Okay,
final good. Okay.
okay, got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any other question, class? So then we'll move ahead. We'll come to the second adjustment for today, which is on prepaid expenses. I'll just close this file. Okay, after that we come to the prepaid or unexpired expenses. That is expenses you have paid but are not related to the current financial year. Okay, now how do we deal with these expenses? कंपनी पे कर चुकी है पर करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर से रिलेटेड वो एक्सपेंसेस नहीं है, तो उनको कैसे आप एडजस्ट करोगे इन योर फाइनल अकाउंट? Okay, so let's take an example. There is insurance premium which is paid by the firm on 1st July 2014 for 1 year, and the amount is 1000. Okay, now 1 year means that this insurance premium is valid from 1st July 2014. Take a blank page. Okay, so this insurance premium is valid from 1st July 2014 to 30th June 2015. Amount paid is 1000, while the financial year is from 1st April 2014 to 31st March 2015. And the duration, if you see, for this insurance premium, validity for the current year is for 9 months. Which means आपने extra premium pay किया हुआ है for the month of April, May and June of current year, that is of the next year, sorry, 2015. So this is the question. How will you treat this prepaid expense? First thing, the statement should be clear. How much of this 1000 is related to the current year and how much of it is actually for the next year. So now if I divide 9 months and 3 months, so you are getting 750 as the insurance premium relevant to the current financial year and 250 is related to the next financial year. I hope this adjustment, this calculation is clear to everyone. Out of 1000, 9 months premium for the current year is 750 and the remaining 250 is for the next financial year. So how do we treat this? Insurance premium, insurance. If simple term insurance is used, we assume it to be related to बिल्डिंग इंश्योरेंस और ऑफिस इंश्योरेंस. अगर फैक्ट्री टर्म यूज होगी तो वो आपका ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट में आएगा. अगर सिंपल इंश्योरेंस है देन इट विल अपीयर इन द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. ओके, so I'll again draw two formats here. Okay, and under this, I am showing you the treatment in the P&L account because insurance per se is an indirect expense not related directly to the production process. And since it is an expense, it will come on the debit side of the P&L account. So I write to insurance. Now the amount paid during the year is 1000. The prepaid amount will be deducted, which is 250, and you get 750 as the insurance for the current year. Okay, this is the first treatment of this adjustment in the final account. Now, prepaid insurance. I'll just mention it here also. This is the first effect of this adjustment. Apart from that, what is the effect in the balance sheet? Now, liabilities are amount which are due, which the business owes to the outsiders, while assets are things of value owned by the business. So an asset will give benefit to the firm in the coming future. अब आपने ये 250 एडवांस में पे कर दिया है, इसके अगेंस्ट आपको इंश्योरेंस कवरेज मिलेगी इन 2015 फॉर 3 months. So this becomes an asset for the business. So the second effect will be that prepaid insurance of 250 will be recorded on the asset side of the balance sheet. This amount has already been paid. This will give benefit in the month of April, May, and June of the next financial year. So this becomes an asset for the business. This is how you treat prepaid expenses in the final accounts, the adjustment in the final accounts. Have a look, ask questions.
Ma'am, in profit and loss account, we
Yes,
cannot we cannot directly show two insurance 750.
you can show, but the method is to show complete calculation also. आप 750 भी शो कर सकते हो, बट बेटर होता है कि आप उसकी ट्रीटमेंट कैसे आप 750 पे आए वो शो करो माइनस प्रीपेड करके.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other question? Okay, so I hope this is making sense to everyone. Let's move to the next adjustment then. तो अभी हमने एक्सपेंसेस की बात करी, प्रीपेड और आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंसेस. अब हम इनकम्स की बात करेंगे. अगेन इनकम ड्यू बट नॉट रिसीव्ड, जिसको हम अक्रूड इनकम बोलते हैं, एंड द prepaid income which is known as income received in advance. This is what we did. We have covered, have a look. We have covered the expense side. Now we come to adjustments on the income side, accrued income and income received in advance. So let's move to the PPT. So income, what is accrued income? Which has been earned, जिसके अगेंस्ट बिजनेस ने सर्विस दे दी है, बट अभी वो अमाउंट हमने रिसीव नहीं करी. So some examples can be rent due but not received, interest due on some investment which has not yet been received, or some commission which is due to the business but has not been received till the end of the year. So I'll take an example, and with that I will show you how this is treated. For example, 12% government bonds, face value 10,000, have been purchased by a firm on 1st October 2015 for 9,500. Interest on these bonds is payable on 30th September every year. So let's jot down the important points which are given here, and then I'll explain you what the adjustment is trying to say. So you have 12% bonds, face value 10,000, purchase price 9,500. These have been purchased on 1st October 2015. Now, and the interest is being paid on annual basis. Now, first thing to understand is that bonds are your debentures, your fixed commitment from the issuer, one who is issuing the bonds. Like in this case we are given government bonds. तो गवर्नमेंट को कभी भी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है सरप्लस कैश की, तो गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज इशू करती है, बॉन्ड्स इशू करती है। एक टाइप का लोन है जो गवर्नमेंट ले रही है फ्रॉम द पब्लिक, फ्रॉम द इंटरेस्टेड इन्वेस्टर्स। उसके अगेंस्ट गवर्नमेंट हर ईयर 12% इंटरेस्ट पे करेगी, और at the end of the duration for which these bonds have been issued, government will redeem the bonds at the price decided. तो सिंपल सिंपल हम अगर समझे तो से 5 years के ये बॉन्ड थे, हर ईयर 12% इंटरेस्ट मिलेगा, और 5th ईयर के एंड पे 10,000 रुपए गवर्नमेंट आपको वापस कर देगी। तो गवर्नमेंट हैज टेकन अ लोन फ्रॉम द इन्वेस्टर। बॉन्ड्स पर इंटरेस्ट मिलता है, इनकम, और शेयर्स पे जो इनकम मिलती है दैट इज नोन एज डिविडेंड। Second thing to understand is that bonds always pay interest on the face value. Whatever be the issue price, interest हमेशा face value पर पे होता है। इसका मतलब yearly interest from 1st October 2015 to 30th September 2016. This interest is rupees 12,000. 12%, sorry, 1,200. 10,000 के है ना bonds, so it will be rupees 1,200. Okay. Now our financial year is starting on 1st April 2015, and it is ending on 31st March 2016. Now, what does this mean? This means that for at least 6 months, we have received the interest in advance. Just let me come back to the adjustment. Okay, we have not received the interest because the interest will be paid on this amount, on this date, on the 30th of September. Okay, so first please understand what is given in the question, then we'll proceed to the working. Is the question clear? You will be receiving the interest for the bonds on 30th September 2016. इसका मतलब जो 6 months इस ईयर के थे, यानी कि 1st to 31st March, अक्टूबर, नवंबर, दिसंबर, जनवरी, फेब, मार्च, 6 months का इंटरेस्ट आपको अभी नहीं मिलेगा। इन 6 months का इंटरेस्ट आपको 30th September 2016 को मिलेगा। तो दिस इंटरेस्ट इज accrued for the firm, due but not paid in the current financial year. So first thing to be very clear here is that the amount of rupees 600 for the current financial year is due but not received. Okay, so this is an accrued income for the business. Now, how do we treat this income in the final accounts? Just have a look. Investment है, directly प्रोडक्शन से रिलेटेड नहीं है, तो ये जाएगी आपकी P&L अकाउंट में। Okay, so I am dealing with the lower part of the pro forma, that is the P&L account, and I write by accrued interest. Okay, accrued interest because this is related to the current financial year, and I will write on the credit side debit all expenses, credit all income. So I write by accrued interest 600 rupees. Then this is the liability side, this is the asset side. This amount will be received in the future. So this becomes an asset for the business. And the second treatment of this adjustment will be that in the balance sheet, accrued interest will appear on the asset side, rupees 600. This is how accrued incomes are treated in final accounts. I hope this is clear to everyone.
Excuse me, ma'am, just one quick question.
Yeah.
So we have to make this adjustment on all the three statements: trading, P&L, and then balance sheet.
बेटा ट्रेडिंग और पीएनएल का इकट्ठे ही है फॉर्मेट. ठीक है,
Okay,
ऊपर वाला जो पार्ट है वो ट्रेडिंग का है, वो अभी रेलेवेंट नहीं है, तो मैंने सिर्फ पीएनएल में आपको दिखाई है एडजस्टमेंट.
okay,
जो
ma'am.
लोअर पार्ट है वही उसमें एडजस्टमेंट दिखाई है.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Thank you.
two effects, one in P&L account and one in the balance sheet. Any other question? Okay, so we'll move to the last adjustment for the day, which is now income which has been received in advance. Okay, so let's move back to the slide. And one thing I'm seeing, students who are trying to enter in late, post 11:40, no one is allowed to enter the class. So you are already given 10 minutes extra to join the class. Post that, you're not allowed. Okay. So unearned income or income received in advance. Examples: rent received in advance. Some portion of that rent is related to the next financial year. Any commission, any interest received in advance. So there's no question here. Let's frame a question for the same. So say, I'm taking the same dates. Okay. So rent received on 31st October 2015 is 12,000. This is the annual rent that has been received by the firm, and out of this, for the current year, April, May, June, July, August, September, इसको 6 में ही कर देती हूँ मैं डिवाइड, ताकि इजी रहेगा समझना. Let's make this as 1st October. So which means you are receiving rent for 1 year. This value of 12,000 is valid from 1st October 2015 to 30th September 2016. इस टाइम ड्यूरेशन के लिए आपने 12,000 रुपीज का रेंट रिसीव कर लिया, जबकि इस ईयर में these are the relevant months: October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months का रेंट इस ईयर से रिलेटेड है और 6 months का रेंट नेक्स्ट ईयर से रिलेटेड है. 6 months का रेंट आपका 6,000 रुपीज हो गया. So how do you treat with the remaining 6,000, which is the unearned income or income received in advance? Again, two for forma. One is the balance sheet, trading and P&L account. रेंट रिसीव्ड है, तो ये आपका इनकम है, इनडायरेक्ट इनकम. So I write it as by rent received. Now the amount received is 12,000, while received rent received in advance. So I deducted by 6,000 because 6,000 is related to the next financial year, and I get 6,000 in the final amount column. Now next thing is whether it should come on the liability side or asset side. अब 6,000 जो आपको एडवांस में मिला है उसके अगेंस्ट आपको सर्विस आने वाले टाइम में देनी है. जो प्रॉपर्टी आपने रेंट पे दी है वो आने वाले 6 मंथ्स में जो नेक्स्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर है, यू हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट that service is given to the tenant or the person who is paying this rent. So this becomes a liability for the business. Income received in advance is a liability because against that amount the business has to render service in the coming future. So on the liability side, rent received in advance will appear as rupees 6,000. So these are the two treatments for income received in advance. It is deducted on the credit side from the relevant income, and it is shown on the liability side in the balance sheet. So this is how you deal with expenses and incomes on accrual basis, that is outstanding and prepaid basis. I hope all the four adjustments are clear to everyone.